Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in to another StarCraft 2 broadcast. My name is Anaris, and today we're starting something a little bit different. We're going to be watching this guy spawning as the Red Terran, whose name I'm not able to pronounce, against me. That's right, I am playing down here as the Protoss player. Now, I thought, and I've read, the comments, a lot of people wanted to see me play. And for a while I didn't really want to do that because, a lot of you guys tune in just to watch pros play and whatnot. And really, there's only so much originality you can add to, hey, it's me playing, because, a lot of other casters already do that. So, for a while I was holding off on that, but then I recently created an account on the Korean server. So, I thought to myself, you know what, it would be really cool if I cast some games, at least of myself, to answer some of the fans that have been wanting that, but throw a kind of unique spin on it and put myself on the Korean server. I'm like, okay, cool, so I could call it something like, Scared in Korea or something like that, because as a caster, one of the things that, you'll probably notice about my channel is I cast a lot of high-level Korean games. So I've kind of developed this, oh yeah, barracks blocked right there, oh yeah, eat it, yep, see that money you're sitting on? Uh-huh, yep, that's me right there, yep, I'm a dick. Anyways, one of the things you do when you cast a lot of high-level Korean games is you start to associate all Koreans with being that good, and I will say, having played over there for a little while now, the Koreans are actually generally, I'd say, a lot more proficient at all levels. I played a 4 versus 4. It was my very first 4v4 placement match. I looked in the game afterwards. Pretty much all the guys were bronze and silver, and I swear to God, they were playing like platinum players on the North American server. Just crazy. So I did that before I started playing 1v1s, so that probably wasn't a good idea, because I got it stuck in my head that, all Koreans are just these amazing players. And so I'm going to warn you right now, I do make a couple mistakes in this game. I'm not quite as offensive as I should be, simply because of the fact that I'm so damn nervous right now. And I totally did this to myself. And moving forward, it hasn't been that much of a big deal since. I've graduated from my placement matches. I went 4-1, which is alright. I mean, whatever. And I got put in the Gold League, so now I'm working my way up, trying to bust my way out of that, get promoted to a little bit level. But I think right off the bat, 4-1 for placement on the Korean server isn't too terribly bad. So let's see here, the Terran player, he's going with a pretty standard opener. He's got the reactor here, going to get to be getting some Marines. Pretty good for defense, pretty cheap, but do notice he is going for a double gas right now, throwing down a factory. Meanwhile, I can tell you right now, I'm going to be a little bit biased, well, not biased per se, but I can give you a little bit more insight into my thinking this game, because it's me playing. So, I've got that probe up there, and I see a pretty standard opener. I decided I'm going to go 3-gate robo. The nice thing I like about 3-gate robo on this map, which you see this map very long, so you have a little bit of extra time to decide if you need to switch up strats at the last minute. 3-gate robo is nice because it lets me field a few more gateway units, because I really do like the gateway units. I like working with those early. 4-gate is something that I really like doing a lot. Not necessarily a 4-gate push, like really early all in, but I like kind of going a more economic 4-gate, having those 4 gates out early, and having the option to create that bigger army. But at the same time, if I had those 4 gateways down, and it turns out that I don't need them right off the bat, then what I'll do is I'll usually go for a fast expansion, throw down a few units, and go from there. Probably drop down a robotics facility while the Nexus is building, and just kind of tech up, get my upgrades going, etc. So for this game, I did decide to go with what will be a 3-gate robo right now, just have a robo and 2 gateways. There's the third one right there. Good job, Anaris. Way to catch up. And meanwhile, this guy up here, he is throwing down a 1-1-1 build, also known as the Husky StarCraft Destiny Cloud Fist. And I'm sure somebody will get upset that I said that, but you know what? He coined it. It's his. I have no problem saying that, but it is what it is. And right now, it is a Terran player making siege tanks. Now, for those of you who are actually interested in seeing more of these, I might do more. I think right now I've played about 10 or 12 1v1s in the Korean server. Not a lot. There have been a couple good games, but not on the whole, not the most exciting. They've been versus mostly gold. This guy right here is actually a platinum. He's a Platinum 1's Diamond 2's player. I looked him up after I played against him, and you know, he wasn't too bad at all. I gotta say, you'll see. Actually, you can just see. You can laugh at my horrible APM right now. You know, the red guy 185, me 62, and the reason this is because for those of you who don't know, I actually have a pretty crappy carpal tunnel in my right hand and my left as well. So I can still keep I can't talk. I can keep my APM pretty high when I need to, but I don't like sitting there at the start, you know, doing this and having the 87 different hotkeys and just keeping my hands warm, because in the long run it really does hurt my wrists, and I like to have my wrists available for when I actually need to engage and fight. And I'm sure some of you are thinking of a fapping joke. Well, whatever. It actually, I've played that much StarCraft in my life. And other games too. So at this point in the game, I'm starting to think, really do need to get up there, see what's going on, because I haven't really heard from the Terran in a while. You can see I actually haven't been up there in a while. I saw that he was throwing down the barracks over here, or the depot right here, and I figured to myself, okay, he's going to wall in. There's not really going to be a whole lot of point in sending in a probe over here, because I know there's probably going to be some Marines at the top. It's just going to get in there, and I'll probably just see exactly what is actually here. 2 depots and a barracks. Surprise. That doesn't really tell you a whole lot. Now, I do get the observer in there, and I see there's a nice mixture. There's a bunch of Marines, a couple siege tanks, got a Raven pretty early as well. I assume that's for the point defense drone. So I'm thinking to myself, alright, might have a Banshee or 2, maybe a Viking or 2. Maybe not the best idea to get a Colossus right off the bat. Maybe I should just go ahead and get an Immortal or 2. You see, I do have one of those right there. Figure it'll be great against the siege tanks. So now I'm just kind of going around scouting, see if he's knocked out the rocks at the high yield yet. Kind of thinking about taking on my own. I think I did that a minute ago, and decided to throw down an expansion. Not a lot actually going on at this point. I do have my base pretty well solidified. You see, actually looking at the army size right now, 73 to 63. Now you do notice a slight discrepancy there. You're seeing kind of sitting about 200 minerals, 150 gas or so. My minerals are getting a tiny bit backed up as the next couple minutes progress, because I have in myself a couple things that I want to do with the gas, but gas is kind of a choke for me at that point. So here's the Terran player now. You see it's 79 to 71. Now, looking at the workers, you can see it's actually 35 to 29. I'm actually a little bit behind. That's one of the mistakes that I made, and I think I have been kind of crappy with my Chronobus. Yeah, I've got enough energy for one Chronobus right now. I probably should be using that on probes, but again, like I said earlier, when I was playing these games, I was just stupid nervous, and yeah, there's really no excuse for it. I was just really nervous at the time, and I just made some stupid mistakes. But here we go. We do have the Terran player heading out across the map now as we are moving past the 10-minute mark. You notice that I canceled the expansion there. The reason I did that is because I wanted to have a little bit of money coming in, and I thought that this force was actually bigger than it was, so I probably overreacted there. But I wanted to make sure that I would have enough money to drop down some more zealots if I need them to help deal with the siege tanks and the Marines. And also, I wasn't too sure if I would need more stalkers, because I did see there was a Banshee or 2 coming over there, and the point defense drone. See, this pretty darn close. Oh, there goes the observer right there. Yep, saw that force coming in. So I am going to try to move down to a more defensible position. Try to get him to come down here just a little bit. Don't want to engage him when he's right there at that choke point. Terran will be very strong there. And now we're dangerously close. Here we go. And now what I do is I come in here and focus fire down the siege tanks. And I see the point defense drones going down, so I just say, heck with it. Continue working on the siege tanks, because at least I know the Immortals can just wreck them. By the time that they're dead, the point defense drone will be out of energy. Sure enough, so there we go, pushing the Terran player back. Going to be running home very quickly, just out firepower him. If that isn't even a phrase, I don't know. But he's got a couple extra forces that were ready to reinforce. Going to be heading back up to the Terran base, though, as I think I do move out to drop an expansion in just a minute or two. Yeah, there we go, right there. As it does go down, I figure now is a great time to expand, because I have him on the defensive. I need to come up here and make sure that he is not expanding on his own. So that is exactly what I do. Go past his defenses. I know the siege tanks right here. I see the Marines trying to dodge around there. I decide to come in, take out the SCV, and try to force the units to come over here and engage me away from the siege tank. You see, he did unsiege, and now the SCVs are coming off, and this is another mistake that I made. I did not bring back these forces away from the SCVs. I could have saved those 2 stalkers right there, but instead I was just more focused on killing the SCVs and seeing how many Banshees I could take out, which you see, I'm able to take out all of them but 1, I think, and now I decide all I've got at this point are 1 Stalker, 4 Immortals, and a couple Zealots. Well, let's see, what else is there to take out? Alright, let's take out the command center. That's why I came up there to begin with. So I might as well make sure that the mission is at least accomplished. I may lose these forces on the way back down, but definitely saving these immortals is better than just sacrificing them, wasting them, etc. So right now I do have a little bit of money built up. I'm actually waiting on something. I forgot what I was waiting on, but I was trying to let my money build up. I think I wanted to build up some more infrastructure here. Maybe drop a robotics bay. Now is about the time when I was thinking about Colossi. Again, I didn't want the guy to get a bunch of Vikings right off the bat, because that'd just make it that much harder to deal with. I decided maybe Colossi on the second attack, something like that. The Immortals will do fine against the first attack, because again, he was going the 1-1-1 build. He can only really have so much in the way of siege tanks there. And you see, he didn't have a ton of Marines. He was only working off of one barracks. So we see right now, looking at the income tab, it's about 700 to about 500. 31 to 26, and as far as the APM now in the game, you see it's about 78 to 156. It went up about 12 or so points. Again, you can see it's fluctuating around 120, 130, something like that. Like I said earlier, it tends to go up as the game gets later on. I just really don't like warming my hands like that, and this was a stupid mistake that I did. Hell, here, Stalker, yeah, sure, go ahead, go in there, right next to the siege tanks, and boom, there you go. I thought about whether or not I should announce that I've that I said that, boom, there you go, because I don't want people to be like, oh my god, you've seen the game, but, you know, there's always that guy that doesn't realize that it's actually me playing, and lulls at that. So, Terran player here, once again, expansion denied. He is forced to build it in a more defensive position right next to his ramp, and by this point, you see my expansion starting to go. I haven't transferred any probes down just yet, still working on trying to make sure my forces get out of here. I decide to knock out his rocks. I figure, you know what, if he decides to come down here and take out this expansion while still running off of one base and trying to build up this natural, I should be in a great position to at least knock out one, if not both of them. He also does have one SCV hanging out down here, sitting at about 250 minerals. And here goes some of that money I was talking about. Throwing down a couple additional gateways. I think I chrono boosted out the Immortal. They had a bit of extra time left over on that. And the Terran player is continuing to build up what he can, focusing on the siege tanks, the Marines, and whatnot. You know, the Marines are pretty good against the Immortals, but the thing is, you know, he really doesn't have a whole ton of them. He does have the Ravens still. And at this point in the game, I really did wish I had a High Templar just feed back the hell out of that thing, man. It is just begging for it. But that was not the path that I did decide to take, and right there I just took out the command center. He was only starting to build. I think it was like 25-30% complete. Took out that SCV very quickly. And I think at some point I decide to expand up here. I don't know for sure, though. I am looking to make a push. I do realize that I have the advantage, and I don't want to let the game go on too long without actually putting a stop to this, which I figure by now there is going to be an expansion floating down here at some point, whether or not it's the main command center or another one that he does decide to build, which he actually is sitting on a lot of energy right now. Could definitely use those mules dropped at his natural there. Not entirely sure why he did not do that. But that's okay. He is trying to increase his production capabilities a little bit. Meanwhile, Robotics Bay is going down in the main base for myself. Continuing to get out a couple more observers here. You know, I do want to have an idea of what's going on in the natural. Also, probably thinking I want to send an observer right here. And I'm actually coming up here now because at the very beginning of the game, I did see that he was starting to build his depots right down here. And I was thinking to myself, wow, this is a perfect opportunity to try to get him a little bit supply blocked. If nothing else, take him down just a tiny bit. You see right now, 92. He is definitely hurting a tiny bit, but we are seeing that he's not actually reacting to that. I'm kind of surprised. I was thinking by the time I took out the second one, he would have a siege tank somewhere over here and start trying to lay down some fire. But that wasn't the case. So I'm like, alright, well, you know what? I'm only getting a couple stalkers firing at this thing, you know, at this point in time. So why really bother? I'm not going to be able to take that out. If he doesn't come attack me, then I don't know what's going to happen. But you see, his defenses are still here at the natural expansion, where I thought he built that refinery a minute ago. I guess that was the barracks. Instead, I'm just a retard like that. And now I do have a Colossus on the way. Don't have the extended thermal lance upgrade just yet, sitting at about 300 minerals, 450 gas. And I think at this point in the game I was just spending a majority of the time kind of going back and forth, wanted to make sure he didn't take the high yield yet, see if there's anything maybe I could do to maybe get my siege tanks shot at with a little bit of lag here. Not sure what was up with that. But I do see both of those SCVs coming down. I was assuming that one of them was maybe going to be trying to go right here, and the other one was possibly going to scout my base, where I do have 5 random stalkers here just kind of hanging out. Not entirely sure why I didn't bring those up, but I am expanding down here to the something o'clock, the 4:48 position, maybe 5 o'clock, I don't know. And this Terran player is still running off of one base. You see, it is definitely a mule party up here, as he doesn't have any upgrades in his Marines. Looking at the other stuff, you see it's pretty much the same. And right now, you see he is just kind of hanging out in his base, not doing a whole lot. I'm still kind of assuming map control, just keeping an eye out, a little bit wary. Again, I was pretty nervous. I had it in my head that this guy was like seriously some pro-Korean, so I was playing super defensive, didn't want to overexpand, didn't want to overextend myself, just making sure I could get as much map control as possible, which I was thinking to make sure the high yield is covered, make sure this expansion is covered, and keep an eye on this one. Although you do see a Marine is heading down towards this position, which I'm not sure if that's, I would think if I were him, I'd probably want to try to expand there again. It's over here. It's a very long ways away. He's probably thinking I've expanded down here, in which case I don't know what one Marine would do. Oh, you scouting parties. That's the thing, is I would see that Marine, I'd be like, okay, yeah, well, he found that expansion now. Spoiler alert, now I know you're going to try to attack that, and shift all my stuff over that way. At least to probably right here or so. And now Terran is actually finally deciding to move out, as he has solidified his expansion, got his production capabilities up just a tiny bit. Meanwhile, my extended thermal lance upgrade is now complete. We are looking to have a big engagement here. You can see the Colossi is starting to work a number on the Marines and the siege tanks. Plenty of Immortals here doing tons of damage to those siege tanks. You see they're going down rather quickly. Marines getting tramped on as well. The point defense drone getting simply overwhelmed by the Stalker fire. Nothing he can really do about that whatsoever. A couple Marauders coming in, but at this point, it's not really mean so much. They are stemming, trying to take down the forces that they can, but the 2 Colossi here, combined with the Stalkers and the Immortals, just give superior firepower. Nothing the Terran player could do at this point. So I have, once again, been able to force him away, and now there's the GG from him. So that's going to be that game. That is my, I don't forget what game this was, but it was a really early one. So that was pretty exciting for me, at least. Like I said, I was super nervous and glad I could kind of get that out of my way. Like I said, I did make some mistakes that I probably wouldn't have made on the North American server, but that's simply, it's like playing against, somebody like you're a really big fan of. I definitely love the way the Koreans approach their game in StarCraft, and I just kind of goofed on that, but that's okay because I was able to secure a win at least. So what I'm going to try to do is get some more games from the Korean server, as I'm actually looking to start playing there pretty much full time. I think it's going to be a good learning experience. And like I said, I mean, platinum on that server is going to be equivalent to probably something higher on the North American server. But that will always be the case. But generally speaking, the Koreans have a little bit higher of a skill level. Like I said, I was playing with those bronze guys, and I think I could have swore they were platinum. Just the way they were micromanaging, and they had the great understanding of the game mechanics, etc. I'm going to shut up now, see about casting some GSL map games. I have a couple of them coming up. Should have them up today. If not, definitely tomorrow. We did have the live stream over the past weekend, so that's why there weren't a lot of games cast. But I do have a lot of replays from both the Korean and the European server from those tournaments. So that's all I've got for now, and I'll see you guys later.